and welcome to HyzerMedia's coverage of the Norse Gods Championship 2022. We are here at Shiprock today for round 3 of 4. This tournament is sponsored by Central PA Disc Golf and also brought to you in part by our Patreon family. If you want to support us, you can do so for as little as $2 over at patreon.com/HyzerMedia. I'm Dave Oster here again with Kevin Gleason. Kevin, how's it going?
Pretty good. Thank you again for the invite. Again, this is Kevin Gleason, team captain, Latitude 64. And today we'll be watching the feature card, or the lead card, at Shiprock. And teeing off Team West Side's Lucas. And I can't wait to see this kid throw out here. He throws so very far. Mike Moser, the Delaware Deucer, at 16 down. And a new guy up to the front, Jake Ritchey. I played with Jake the day before. He's really, really good. And Nathan's snuck back onto the main card.
Yep, so exciting card. A couple of guys we've been filming, a couple of new guys. We will get started as always in hole 1. It's a par 4, 703 feet. Blind down the hill and then all the way around as we see where the drone is flying. Around the corner to a basket, there is a mandatory on the left side that prevents people from going straight towards the basket. So we'll probably see a bunch of hyzers try to hit a gap through the trees, or we might see Lucas with his power trying to go over it.
Yeah, I think Lucas has a verdict in his hand right now. Did he just try to go over the top?
I believe he did.
Yeah, that's just something that, and it looks like it worked out great. That's just something I don't even think about. I try to go right down through the middle, right past the green trees. I'm going to say Mike's probably going to try to aim the same way. Yeah, down through there and then just cut left. There's a nice little opening. And it looks like Mike caught the last tree, but he still might be able to get up and down.
Yeah, that's much more of a typical line that you're going to see. I think the tool that Lucas has is just something that very few players are going to be able to do.
I know I can't do it.
Me neither.
And there was Jake throwing his motion plasma. And I think Nathan's probably going to go down the middle also. Yeah, it looks like he's just trying to go right down the middle, keep it clean. And that's a great shot. Probably about 125, 130 from the basket.
Yeah, you really want to get down to this flat spot because once you get there, you aren't really too pinched off. We see Mike just on the edge having to go wide hyzer, but even every foot past that out into the field just makes this second shot so much easier.
Jake here for his second shot. Throwing a deflector and almost running it in.
Yeah. Would have been a great way to start this tournament, ringing up a 2 on a par 4.
Nathan with a great layup right under the basket. He'll be able to drop in an early birdie. And Lucas almost has a putt at it going over the top like he did with his verdict, which is just I didn't even think about it. Like that never even crossed my mind to go over the top of those trees.
Yeah, that's definitely a cheat code that he has there.
Mike with a nice putt to start off with. Jake's got a little bit of grass cabbage in his way. He's putting with Innova Invaders DX. And he was hitting putts like that the whole time during the little deuce or die round, the second round we played the day before.
Yeah, we filmed Jake in a previous tournament at her park, and he is definitely a good putter. So hopefully he's able to keep that up for this round as well.
I hope so also. Yeah, that was the first time I'd met Jake. I might have met him before, but it was the first time I played with him, and I enjoyed his company. Here we go into hole 2. This is a tricky hole. You're going to throw a sidearm or a real flippy putter, or maybe even something along the lines of a load runner. It's 302 feet. You got to get out of the gap, and there's water actually if you throw it too far. There's a river that runs behind the basket. And I couldn't tell. It looked like Lucas might have caught one of the last branches or trees, but he might still have a putt. Mike throwing an AVR backhand, trying to get it out there and let the wind just push it to the right. He's got the height, but it looks like it came out on him at the end.
Ooh. Just need to get a little bit further right to miss that tree.
Yeah, just a little bit right, and I think he had a great little line-in angle on it. I think Nathan's got his Firebird in his hand. And also caught one of the last limbs.
Both Jake and Nathan luckily to land right on that walking path to have an open look, because it easily could have kicked either way, left or right, and had a far and obstructed putt or upshot.
Yeah, if you kick left up there, it's a tough up and down from up there. It looks like Jake's upshot was a little bit short. Nathan looks just about perfect. He should be able to get up and down for his three. Looks like Mike's given this a long bid, left it a little bit left, but that was a nice little run from where he was. And Jake has looking to be about a 35-foot for par.
Just a little short. Maybe that water behind, giving him a little bit of a scary run at it.
And Lucas knew right out of his hand that was high.
So the unfortunate bogey for Jake, this is going to be a big contrast to what we saw at DF Buchmiller, where maybe one player out of the four will get a bogey on the entire round. Probably more like one a hole here at Shiprock. But we'll move over to hole 3, par 3, 268. It is very tight lined. You can go forehand, turnover, like we see Luke throwing here, or there's the left side line, or you can throw the backhand turnover, or the backhand hyzer, where it looks like Mike is lining up for.
Yeah, and it's such a tight lane no matter which way you go about it. It looks like Mike got up there really close for a putt. And on round 2 coverage, Dylan aced this during warm-up, which amazes me because it's such a tight line and tight turn to get up in there.
Yeah, definitely not the distance, but obviously, like you said, tight line. And haven't seen it other than on the drone shot. It's a very steep downhill to the right side looking at the tee pad, and that looks like where Jake's going down. I think maybe he stopped, didn't quite go all the way down.
Yeah, there's a lot of up and down hills in this place. So if you hit a tree, you sometimes start gliding down a small mountain, it seems like. Oh, and Nathan caught a bad edge and kicked all the way down to the bottom. That'll be a really tough up and down for him to save par.
I think that was already his third shot.
Oh, was it really?
Because he kicked an early tree, so he's down there. This would be for his 4 bogey.
Oh, my goodness. Now, that's the way to save a bogey.
It sure is. That was an amazing reach out forehand up the hill. Take a look at it again.
Little instant replay. I mean, he hit that thing dead center, got a smile on his face. He knows that he saved a stroke there.
Absolutely, because if you miss that, it could hit that hill and roll all the way back down where you're standing. So high risk, high reward, but he was able to get it that time.
And this, to get a birdie on this hole, it's a extra stroke on the field because there's not too many people that are going to get one on this hole.
Yeah, I think seeing 2 birdies on this one card is probably an uncommon result.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I was on the 3rd card this round, and I don't believe anybody this round on my card got one.
This was playing as the hardest hole for today at 0.3 strokes over par, so
I would imagine it. And here we go into hole 4. We're finally out into the field where we'll be able to see somebody like Lucas really get a hold of it. You don't want to turn it over to the right, and there's a little bit of a headwind coming at us right now. So if you turn it over to the right into the trees, it's a little bit hard to get up and down. And if you flip it over too far left, there's OB. and the basket is tucked in about 80, 90 feet into the woods right here. And also, if you throw it too long, it drops off behind the basket.
Yeah, certainly a lot going on in this hole, including the distance. Thank you to Lancaster County Disc Golf for sponsoring this hole.
And that was a good shot by Mike. All you're trying to do is get over the ridge of the hill that you can see. And if you can get over that ridge about 40, 50 feet, you can get up and down for the birdie. And it looks like Jake went a little too understable and pushed it over and flipped up and went into the woods.
It looked like you maybe kicked the tree and landed right on the edge, because I believe over there is 11's fairway. So if you get through, you can go pretty far down that right side.
And Lucas just hit about 4 or 5 trees and out through me by about 50 feet. And that's a great line Nathan just put on it. That'll come back around, be right edges, right middle of fairway, and he'll have a good chance to get up and down for the birdie.
Yeah, I think that's typically more what these guys are trying to look at doing. Maybe they tried to take off a little bit more distance, but like you said, that headwind just brought their disc a little bit too far right.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot of headwind on this hole, but it was just enough to you're finally throwing something really hard and fast, and it's very easy for it to get away on.
Right,
and
especially
it looks
after.
like Mike.
Yep, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. It looks like Mike's heading OB. Yes, didn't mean to cut you off. I just saw that Mike kind of did an early release and kind of threw it up and faded off to the left.
Nope, no worries. I was just going to say that these players having to be 2 rounds a whole day at DF Buckmiller, controlled shots. They finally get to the first open hole basically in 3 rounds. And you're right, they just want to rip on it. So maybe a little overpowered, and they turned it over.
Lucas is going for that left back entrance, and looks like he called up on the last trees. I think he's going to be about probably 50 feet away. Jake is still a little pinched off. I think that tree's about 20, 22 feet away. Here's Mike trying to get sneaky through the trees. And that should be right there.
Yep, I think it's just a few feet.
Nathan should have a very easy up and down from where he's at. Just throw something up in the air and let it fall to the left. And that's the way to play that hole. If you don't have the distance of somebody like Lucas, you're just trying to stay in the middle, pitch up to the basket, and drop it in for your 4. This is a hard hole to birdie. But it's a very easy hole to get yourself in trouble and throw into woods or throw OB and take some extra strokes that are unnecessary. Great putt by Jake.
And just after we played the hardest hole, this is playing as the second hardest hole today at just about a quarter of a stroke over par. So 3, 4, okay. 2 very different holes, but obviously very difficult in their own ways.
Yeah, I really enjoy hole 4. I think it fits my game very well. You don't have to do too much. As long as you can throw about 350 feet, you can get down there for the birdie with the downhill slope. There's Mike dropping in his bogey after going OB on his second throw.
How'd you do in this hole today?
I'm pretty sure I had a par.
Okay, that just like you said, plays to your game perfectly well.
Yeah.
But we will go over to hole 5, par 3, 244 feet. Most of these players are going to be throwing big, high spike hyzers up over this foundation onto the bit of a mound of a green. It's kind of flat to the left side, but right side and long, it does drop off pretty quickly. Some grass and trees could help you stay up there, but we'll see where these players wind up.
Jake throwing a big spike hyzer with his deflector proton.
It looked like that just caught an edge and rolled a little bit down the backside of the hill.
And there's Lucas with that harp he loves to throw. I'm pretty sure he threw it in the basket for an ace on video on the
That's
last
right.
round. So y'all, if you haven't seen it, go back and watch that video.
Absolutely.
Maybe a big spike Firebird for Nathan.
Yep, and that fence post is maybe 10 feet or less from the basket, so it's perfect throw for him.
Mike stepping up with an Everstable Eagle. He's probably going to put a big hyzer on it above the trees and let it crash in. And as long as you can hit the top of this hill and just take off rolling down it, that's a good shot for Mike. There's some high grass up there right now, which was kind of nice because it actually stopped mine, I believe, from rolling down during this round.
Yeah, certainly one of the holes that you want to have maybe a little bit longer grass than some of these other ones.
And that putt was a little bit low, but when you get to the bottom of the hill out there in the short grass at the bottom, it is tough to get a birdie from down there. And there's a nice birdie from Lucas, putting him at 22 down. Nathan with a little obstructed little fence in his way, but it caused him no problems, and he got the birdie also.
Yeah, those long legs and long arms, just a little fence post is not going to get in his way.
Yeah, so he probably wasn't even thinking of the fence post or even knowing it was there. Me, I'd have had to stretch out, get on the knee, and figure out a way to get the putt in. 1-2 pump Mike. And a good birdie from Mike. So Lucas with about a 4-stroke lead right now.
Yeah, he is
on
cruising.
A course. On a course that suits his game very well. As long as he throws far and keeps it in bounds, he'll run away with this tournament. Me personally, I never had the distance. Here we go, hole 6, par 5, 853 feet. You have OB right, you have OB left. Off the tee, you're trying to go through this little gap and land somewhere around here. On your second shot, you're just trying not to throw OB. Just throw it as far down as you can. Leave yourself with about a 200 to 350 foot up shot for hopefully the drop in birdie.
Yep, and once you get up the green, the only thing you got to worry about is the the cars that are too long. And thank you to Reflexion for sponsoring this hole.
And that looked to be about perfect.
And shout out to Eric Hess, background of that shot, bringing water 2 holes during this tournament. It got pretty hot out there. And, Eric Hess and Kayla Hess running a great tournament here this weekend. So thank you to them for getting us here. And love to come back for future tournaments.
And there Mike goes Roadrunner around the corner. Yeah, Eric did a great job with this tournament. There was water everywhere. He was bringing it to you if you needed some. He was out and about all over the place. He ran a really good event. I'm glad I went. I hope to go back again next year. Jake turning it over. That looks pretty good. Kind of falling out at the end. I couldn't tell if Nathan went OB or not on that shot.
I believe he landed just short. Yeah.
Okay, so he'll just have a hyzer over out of bounds the entire quite a ways, but it should be just fine for him. He should be able to fall left and maybe even still get the birdie.
And along with being the longest hole on this course, obviously it's going to be the only par 5. You can see it is uphill the entire way, and it's just so long. It plays even further uphill than it looks, and probably playing closer to almost 1,000 feet. Very far
I'd
par
agree.
5.
I'd agree with that because on my third shot this round, I left it about 40 feet short, not knowing, thinking I had the right distance, and you got to really, really throw it pretty hard to get it to the basket on your third shot, at least if you're me. Nathan throwing his third shot, probably his Firebird. And maybe just outside the circle. No, that's a little closer. Jake lining up with his Crave. And about throwing it in. Yeah, that was a great shot.
Beautiful. Perfect spike hyzer from Mike.
Yeah, it looked to be maybe his eagle again. And is this an eagle bid?
I believe it is. Almost pin high into.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if he was going for that. And I know we had a little bit of wind. I'm knowing him, I'm sure he went for it. Maybe it was just a camera angle that looked like it was just giving it a layup. Nathan probably right outside the circle and put it just a bit high. Great birdie from Jake. Lucas keeping that 4-stroke lead. Almost 5 now. No, Mike will drop in. It'll still be 4.
So I guess that was an out-of-bounds stroke for Nathan because that was his 5th shot, but bogey score came up.
Yeah, so must have been.
Couple of birdies, bogey. We will move over to hole 7, par 4, 696 feet. Same out-of-bounds line for 7. That line's 6 is fairway. These players are pretty much just trying to get to around this tree line, find a gap to set themselves up for the second shot. Depending on where they are, the forehand or backhand both works. Out-of-bounds left as well. And then hill, as you get to the basket, starts to increase in its steepness. So want to not go too far and try to set yourself up after your second shot for birdie. And thank you to Hempfield Botanicals for sponsoring this hole.
And it looks as if Lucas is trying to go over the trees again. Or no, he's just going up and crashing. That's a beautiful shot.
If you can do it, why not give it a shot?
Yeah, Mike's throwing an overstable destroyer, just putting it out to the right and letting it fall down left. Maybe a little tighter than he was looking for, but as long as he's got the distance, he'll be able to throw a hyzer right to the basket. Nitro Neutron for Jake, and that looks to be a great spot also. The way the trees are that you have to go through with your second shot, you could be 10 feet short, right or left, and be off by just a little bit. So throwing far on this hole, you don't have to throw real far to be able to get in there for the birdie. It looks like Mike's a little pinched off.
Yeah, actually going that inside gap over the out-of-bounds corner, and looks like he pured it and probably within the circle.
Yeah, that was a great shot by Mike. Nathan doing about the same thing, sidearm and
catching the first tree. Kicks so right back to him. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's OB again. There he goes. That was much better. Here. Looks like Jake pushed it out a little bit wide. I think it's got enough time to get back though.
Yeah, I was flirting with the OB probably a little bit more than he wanted, but luckily he had stable enough disc. I came back.
That looks to be about just right. If it sits down.
Yeah. And that looked like might have gone a little bit long. Like we said, a hill starts to go down there like you can see. So see where that ground play brought him to.
Jake with a nice bid, a little bit left. Lucas did get a little bit away. Looks like he's just right outside the circle. Probably not much different than where Jake was. And he just needed to get it up a little bit. Nathan really needs to hit this putt. This is probably for bogey. And again, I'll say it again. Nathan has one of the nicest putts that I've seen. He's so very smooth with it. He puts a good amount of spin on it. He releases his arm high to where it always gives the disc a chance to go in. So it's really a pleasure watching Nathan putt.
Yeah, very smooth, clean release.
Good comebacker for Jake. I guess that'll give him his par.
And that almost wanted to push out the back of the chains for a second. Luckily, we're not playing those single chain baskets like the alternate layout anymore.
Yeah, I'm done with those for a while, I guess. I enjoyed that course.
Yeah, the course is great. They serve their purpose, but new baskets are what everybody's used to now.
Yeah.
But over to hole 8, par 3, 358 feet. Blind basket from the long tee pad. Got to throw up and over the hill and try to get close. You can use the trees a little bit to stop you just from going too far, or just throw a big giant spike hyzer like Lucas is.
And that's going to be a little bit left, probably 50 foot away. I think Michael probably put more of an S on this shot to get it to the basket. No, he actually went more hyzer than I expected, but that looks really, really nice. It's hard to tell, but if you see the 3 trees right off to the left of the screen, the basket's right between all of those. Jake going nitro neutron off the pad. And it needs to push forward.
Yeah, and that was right by that group in the trees, so if it didn't go too far, it looked like he's going to be right there.
And if Nathan has the distance, he's definitely got the height to get there. There's the 3 trees. It looks like he came in a little bit early. So this is a tough little putt he's got right here. He's going to have to put a little bit of anhyzer or float a hyzer at that, because those trees really do pinch you off over there. That really anywhere you land around this basket, if you're on that 30 foot out, 20 foot out, it's sometimes a little bit hard to get up and down.
Yeah, especially left side. You see Lucas trying to go through that gap. He made it through, hit the band, and Nathan not able to get through the gap, but they're very tight almost from any direction on the left side.
Jake, and see just that right there, Jake having to move over a little bit, maybe shift his weight a little bit. Forgot to kick that shoulder out a little bit to, straighten it up. Mike finishing up with a 2. Great hole for Mike. I actually birdied this one with a nice putt from about where Nathan was a minute ago.
Very nice.
And Dylan got it on video, so I was very happy. I looked back, I said, "Oh, you videoed that." It's like, sweet.
That's awesome. Excited to see that when he posts that if he hasn't already.
And everybody else just cleaning up their pars. And we'll be moving over to hole 9, which will be the final hole for the front 9. And par 4, 486 foot, probably one of the easier par 4s on the course. I don't know how it played, but as long as you make it through that gap and land anywhere from here to here, it's a fairly easy up and down to the basket right here. Maybe your second shot will be something around a putter or a flick right into the green. Let's see how they do.
Yep, this was playing as the 3rd easiest hole on the course. We're a half a stroke under par, so these players, especially on the lead card, are probably going to have a good chance of getting their birdie.
And Mike's going roller on a hole that I wouldn't have thought of throwing a roller on that hole. But I know Mike's roller game, and he can probably get to that basket with the roller.
Yeah, I think he throws roller on a lot of holes that people don't think about a roller.
I'm like, here he goes again. It looks like Lucas just pushed it a little bit left, but with his power, it's up and down. He should still be able to get a putt for birdie. Jake putting a nice turn on this. It needs to come out. Can't tell if he kept going right. If you keep going right like that, it will pinch you off, and it is hard to get the birdie from over inside those trees. Nathan stays clean. That's just great. He should be able to throw a sidearm from where he landed.
Yeah, right in the middle. That's where you want to be.
Looks like Lucas went a little more overstable on that mid-range. It might have been his verdict. You can see the top of the basket, top left of the screen. And Nathan leads a little bit more on that. Oh, and Jake actually ended up just fine. And that looks like a good shot.
Yeah, I think playing into this hillside, it gets steeper as you go to the right. You kind of use as a backstop going from right to left off the tee shot.
It looked like Mike almost threw it in for the eagle. Lucas probably at 20 feet, tree in his way. And Mike actually left it a little bit short and missed it right. And Nathan actually pushed through those trees a little bit, so he ended up going a little bit farther than I thought he did. And there he is. Good birdie for Nathan.
Yeah, putting below your feet's not an easy thing to do.
No, Jake's got a little tricky putt going on right here, but he looks to be pretty focused, so I'm going to say it goes in. Yep.
Good call.
Yeah, that one's going to eat at Mike a little bit. He had such an amazing roller off the tee, and then he left his upshot a little bit short.
Yeah, and with Lucas getting the par that would have been able to get him one stroke closer going into the back nine. But thank you to our supporting sponsors for this coverage, Carvella Design and Tono Group. We are going to be heading over to the back nine. Thank you all for watching. Thank you to Kevin Gleason for joining us.
Thank you for the invite.
Absolutely, and we will see you all over on the next hole.